Hello and welcome back to the Horse Racing Network with me, Izzy Phillips, and I'm joined as always by racing broadcaster and journalist Paul Alster, and we're going to be taking a look ahead to the big November meeting at Cheltenham this weekend. Paul, you looking forward to it?
How could I not be? I mean, it's wonderful, isn't it? 3 days at Cheltenham, great horses, and some interesting betting opportunities, which we'll come to after Izzy's weather forecast for the big meeting.
Weather. Well, we've got some really severe weather going on actually this weekend. Like, I'll see now whether our producer can you whack some sort of gigantic picture of a storm here because you've got Claudia who's going to absolutely batter Cheltenham on Friday. Lots and lots of rainfall. They think potentially more than the 20 to 30 millimetres that has been initially forecast. There's an amber weather warning as well over Cheltenham and I think most of the UK actually, with Storm Claudia arriving. So the ground is good to soft currently. They did water at Cheltenham last Friday. Obviously, they'd already cancelled the cross country, which could potentially look a bit of a silly decision now, considering that the rain has come. And I know they replaced that with that veterans chase, but it looks like the going will move to soft by Saturday. And then Saturday itself and Sunday are actually relatively dry with clouds. So hopefully no dulled off fences either due to the low sun, which should be good. But yes, you'll need your brolly if you are going racing on Friday.
If yeah, if you can hold on to it in the storm.
No, that's the other thing, isn't it? Completely take you away. But we're
Yeah.
going to kick things off on the Saturday. We're going straight in with the main sort of the big days racing. We'll do an honourable mention to the fact that John Bon is running in the Schnur on Friday. Hopefully he can get his first win of the season for Nicky Henderson. But on Saturday we're going to start with the 110. That is the amateur jockeys handicap chase, and quite an interesting race here at the top of the market. Around 3 to 1, we've got Aura Fortuna for Miss M. O'Sullivan. You've got Heracles Westwood in here, Jubilee Express for Sam Thomas, Kelsey, if you're a Taylor Swift fan and you want to follow a Kelsey, then you've got one in there. You've got Sound and Fury at 9 to 1, Take All at 12 to 1, Imperial Alex. And then I'll say we've got Bigger the Rest, sort of 16 to 1 and bigger there. Quite a few runners in this field, 18 runners out of a possible maximum of 20. This is looking a little healthier than the racing we saw this weekend just gone. Who takes your fancy here, Paul? Because you have got a previous winner in here with Chambard, who's got a massive price at 50 to 1.
Yeah, Chambard, I mean, it's almost as old as me, Chambard, isn't he? He's been around for ages. It'll be a cracking performance if he was to bounce back and win here. He is an old horse now, going on for nearly 14 years old. Lucy Turner rides him regularly. He's had some great days at Cheltenham, but I think this will be too tough for him. You can understand the bookies boxing a bit clever around Aurea Fortuna because Tony Martin's such a shrewdie, and this horse won really nicely at Punchestown just a month ago, but it's gone up £15. And of course, its best form is on decent ground. And if you're correct, and I have no reason to disbelieve you, Izzy, that the storm is coming and it's going to soak Cheltenham, I'm not sure it's going to help the chance of Aurea Fortuna. I think there are a number of horses with chances. You've got to also factor in this race as well the jockey ability. I think Jubilee Express has got a massive chance because last year, first time out on soft ground over 3 3/4 miles, he came second in the Welsh National to Val Dancer and he's only £3 higher. And I'm sure that Sam Thomas, his trainer, would not have put on a jockey that wasn't able to do himself justice. So Harvey Barfoot Saunt, who hasn't ridden a winner under rules but has ridden winners between the flags, is an interesting rider for Jubilee Express. There were one or two others that caught my eye. Sound and Fury has gone up in the weights for a narrow victory at Carlisle a couple of weeks ago. He had a tough race there. If he's got over it, I'd give him a big chance. They've only put him up £2, and he's got Gina Andrews on board, who's a terrific rider. And then amongst other runners, both Imperial Alex and Autonomous Cloud have won of late, or won last time out, but that was quite a few months ago. So their fitness has to be taken into account. And one at a pretty big price that I could see going well is the locally trained Ballycamas for Nigel and Willie Twiston Davis. And he actually ran okay at the October meeting when he was 7th of 18 over this kind of a trip and was only beaten 10 lengths. And he's won on soft ground, so he is interesting. But I think if I was to be given a free bet on this race, one, going with a good jockey and with a trainer who's already having a good season, I'd be with a horse called Heracles Westwood for Warren Greatrex and Finney Maguire. This horse was last seen at Punchestown in May. He was 5th of 23 in a hot handicap chase. He'd been 7th to Haiti Couleurs, who of course is a Gold Cup hope this year. And that was in the National Hunt Chase here at Cheltenham last March. And he's won on soft ground. And I think he'll stay. And he's often gone well after a bit of a break. So at around the 13-2 mark, with plenty of places offered by most of the big firms, I'd be with a horse called Heracles Westwood.
I really agree with everything you said about Sound and Fury, actually. I think that I agree. I think you do have to look for, obviously, it is an amateur jockey's race, and I do think you have to look for a jockey that's perhaps got that little bit of form, which I think Gina Andrews absolutely has. And to top that off, Ben Paulin is having a fantastic time of things at the moment. So, like you say, just gone up in the weights a little bit, but hopefully, can take that in stride and get a pretty decent performance there. But we've got some at a slightly bigger price for you. I mean, it's a pretty good betting race, really, with a sort of starting price of 4-1, the field. So we'll see how things go. These amateur races can sometimes be a bit crazy, can't they, when you get a few awry jumpers or something like that. But we will move on to the 220 that follows this. It is the Paddy Power Gold Cup, a race I'm really, really looking forward to. And at the top of the market, you've got what appears to be a bit of a Cheltenham specialist in Jaguar for the iconic JP McManus colours and John Joe O'Neill. Junior is the jockey. You've got Vincenzo in second player there, about 11-2. You've got Il Ridotto for the Nichols team, Panic Attack for the Skeltons. So you've kind of got the full regalion at the top of the market. You've then got the Company Sergeant, Coming Up Easy, Ho Jolie Smoke, Conyers Hill, S Perfecto, Hunter's Legend, and Bad. You've then got Theatre Native, Risk in the Ground, The Other Mozzie, and Issa Dairy. So, I mean, I just mentioned Ben Pauling's having a really good time of things. Obviously, he's got Bad in here. He can put in a few ropey jumps at times, but he's already had his first win out this season. Do you think he's got a good chance here, or are you looking elsewhere?
Well, I think first of all, he won nicely first time out this season. My concern about Bad is principally racing left-handed, because all his wins have been at Kempton, which is a flat right-handed track, and that would be a concern for me. He pulled up at Aintree, that was over the national fences, we can excuse him that, but most of his runs have been going right-handed, and that would just put me off a little bit, as too would be the fact that Ben Pauling, for the most part, has been running him on good ground or good to soft, and if the storm hits and we get a soaking on Friday and probably a bit more into Saturday, a lighter rain, I don't think it's going to suit Bad, so he wouldn't be on my shortlist, is he? I can understand why Jaguar is favourite. He took a huge rise in the weights last season because he did so well. So he started last season off a mark of 118. Now he's starting off 148. So he's 30 pounds higher. He's got 12 stone to carry in what is going to be pretty testing ground, we think. And first time out, I think that could be quite hard to do. If he does it, then who knows, he might be a horse who's going to go on and maybe be a Ryanair horse by March. So we'll know a bit more about how good Jaguar is. He's only a 6-year-old. Best year's still ahead of him. Now, last year's winner is Il Ridotto. He was also third the year before. And he's running off a very similar mark, just a pound different to last year. Probably needed his reappearance run at Chepstow, but again, would he be ideally suited if it becomes a slog up the hill? And this is a question with quite a few of these, because the market has been built around many of the horses that are top of the ground or good to soft horses. Vincenzo, he handles soft ground well, and the yard has been getting them ready and winning with horses first time out, that of Sam Thomas. So I think he'd have to be on the short list. Um, Another one that I think is quite interesting is where's it gone now? Is Hunter Legend for Venetia Williams. Now, Venetia Williams, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you, is a trainer who is terrifically talented, and she seems to specialize and buy horses that are really capable of handling themselves in the mud and running in soft conditions. Not all of them, but many of them. And Hunter Legend fits into that bracket. Another horse that improved a lot last season, £19. If you see a little bit of money for Hunter Legend, then I think you'd be well worth giving it a second glance. I'm expecting a fair show from Theatre Native, but I think the one I'd be with here would be Conyers Hill, trained by Paul Nolan in Ireland. Sean O'Keefe is on board. This horse was sixth over 2 miles here in the Grand Annual Handicap Chase at the big festival meeting. It came home really powerfully up the hill. They went a bit quick for him because I think this is a horse who likes to get his toe in, so the soft ground would be a bonus for him. And last time out at Limerick, his first run for 5 or 6 months, he ran a good race to be second to the beautifully named Crozet d'Apple Tart. And that was a good run. And I think he'll be fitter for that. So I can see him coming up the hill in the mud and keeping on where quite a few of them have already hoisted the white flag. And it's 16-1 each way, Conyers Hill. So he's the one that I think I'll be recommending here on this service with Sean O'Keefe, a perfectly capable and talented rider.
I wish that the trainers were having slightly more winners, but I'm going to stick with Jaguar. I just think that he's become, as I said at the top of the piece, somewhat of a Cheltenham specialist these days. He absolutely loves it round here. He has got a lot of weight to lug around, but I just feel that, he could actually do it. I just think he's been very, very impressive in the times I've seen him at Cheltenham. He's won comfortably. I will be on McManus watch in the parade ring, because if he's there, then I usually think that speaks volumes of what they think of their chances. We're not looking just for AP McCoy. We want to see JP McManus as well, because
Oh,
that
he'll
tells
be
us it's a
there.
serious one.
I think he'll be there, is he? Because
John
he's
Bon.
got John Bon going as well at
Yeah.
the meeting, and he's got a few other nice ones. So I'm sure he wouldn't want to be too far away. So I think that you'll be. Are you going to be there at Cheltenham? Are you going
I
yourself?
am. I'm going
Are
Cheltenham
you?
for the Saturday and the Sunday, so I'll be there for those
Okay.
2 days. So
Well,
really
take your
looking forward to it.
raincoat. Get your
Well,
raincoat, your
you need your
galoshes, the lot.
thermals on Saturday because the
You get
temperature is
those
going to
thermals on.
drop. Yeah, you got
Yeah,
that. Get those
absolutely.
thermals. But yeah,
Brilliant.
Jaguar for me. I'm all in on Jaguar. I just can't really see elsewhere. The one I actually do like a little bit, just as a big price, just in each way. And I know it's not his ideal kind of direction, but I do like Bad. I've got a soft spot for Bad, I'm clearly being led by Ben Pauling's form currently, because my eye just keeps going to his runners. But yeah, I think it's a really, really exciting race, this
It's a
one.
very good race. It really is.
And then after that, at 2:55, we've got the From the Horse's Mouth podcast handicap hurdle, and we've got some really nice runners in this one. We have currently got a field of 10, usually a maximum field of 20 here, so you've got about half the runners. And at the top of the market at 2-1, you've got the Skeltons with Supremely West. You've got Kiki Joe for the Hobbs team. In second favourite, Long Draw, who I know we spoke about on a preview a couple of weeks ago for Ollie Murphy and Sean Bowen. You've then got Gal Road for the Tristan Davis team. They usually get one winner or so across this meeting, with it being their local track. You've got London Office Calling in there for Gavin Cromwell. Prince Zaltar, another one in there for the Skeltons. Patriotic for Isabel and Evan Williams. You've got Good Look Charm for Anthony Honeyball. Priory Park and The Dancer as well. So 2-1 the field here. It's quite a small, short price, I think, considering the field. What's your views on that?
Yeah, it's a fairly short price. I mean, when you're considering value in racing, you've got to think to yourself, what kind of a price would I be prepared to lay about this horse? And if this is a price that you think is more than you'd be prepared to lay, then that's the time to possibly have a bet. Now, as you know, I'm normally keen on backing a horse at decent odds. And if I was to be playing each way in this race, there's a couple of interests. Kiki Joe, I think, will probably handle the soft ground for Philip Hobbs and Johnson White. I don't think Long Draw will be suited by the ground. Gowell Road, a lot of weight in the ground, but he goes so well here. London Office Calling, I think, has got a chance if it um, isn't a complete bog. But I've got to say that having looked at this race backwards and forwards a few times, if I was to have a win bet, there would only be one horse for me, and that would be the favourite, Supremely
Oh,
West. Yeah,
fair enough.
yeah, because I'll tell you very briefly why. This horse stays really well. The 3 miles, if it is testing ground, a lot of these are going to struggle. He won in heavy ground at Haydock, and when it's heavy at Haydock, it's bottomless, really. And he won in that ground under 12 stone at their Christmas meeting just before Christmas last year. That was off £11 lower than now, but he went on to run a couple of decent races after that on ground, probably quicker than ideal for him. And then he made that reappearance at the October meeting on good ground, which again would be probably plenty fast enough for him. And it was his first run after a breathing operation. And sometimes, Izzy, as I'm sure you know, horses after a breathing operation, the first time they run, they're experiencing the air coming into their lungs much more than they have been in prior to the op, and sometimes they just need a run to just get used to that different breathing experience. And that was a very big run, and I think now with the ground really in his favour and with Harry Skelton on board, I think this must be the Skelton banker of the meeting. So if I were to have a one running for my life in this race, I think it would be Supremely West.
I didn't have a strong fancy in this race, and I feel like you kind of just talked me into one. I do follow the Twiston Davis team. Obviously, I know you mentioned earlier you've got it's Nigel and Willie Twiston Davis now. So this is kind of his first season, his first big November meeting with his name on the trainer's badge. So I think that, well, by name anyway, I know he's been heavily involved in the training operation for a little while, but I do think that Gal Road will run well. Just contemplating whether or not he's going to hit a big enough price to go each way. I mean, at one point, Antipost, you could have got 20-1 on him. Perhaps that would have been the time with Gal Road, but I don't think he's going to love the cut in the ground. So I'll just be keeping an eye on how those first races go, I think, for this one, and seeing just how cut up perhaps the ground gets, and make my decision from there. But I do think Gal Road will probably run well and run himself into a place. That's for sure. And we've got a strong fancy for Supremely West to take the spoils regardless. So we're finishing the podcast with a bang, because that is all we've got time for the Cheltenham November meeting. We will be back next week, where we'll be taking a look ahead to the big races at Haydock.